This is incredible. Got liver rescue right here. I'm talking about the immune system. I'm talking about the liver. I haven't talked about the liver that much. So this is an important one. Liver and our emotions. Liver and our immune system. Liver and our skin. Think about that right there. Like skin problems. All the different skin problems people have. Liver. And emotions can get intense when the liver is sick or dirty or weakened or stagnant or sluggish. Hey, you guys, good to see you guys coming on. You guys know I did an Amazon Live. You guys, many of you guys were there probably, right? Made that incredible food. I still have some of it here. I still have some of the pasta that came out of this book. So it's the veggie pasta dish. And this pasta is incredible, you know. But anyway, you guys, you check out the Amazon Live platform. Go there when you get a chance. The link is in the description of the video. So you should go and see the replay of today's Amazon Live. Check it out. I want you to see how I made the pasta and everything else. And I did some cooking tips too. I just want to let everybody know that now while we're going. We're talking about the liver a little bit today, right? You're always talking to us, Cheryl says. Hey, well, of course. You guys are important, really important. And you guys been through a lot. And that's the thing, you know. You guys have been through a lot. I mean, sure. You know, here I am, right, talking about liver rescue. But why am I here? Why am I talking about liver rescue? Why am I talking about health? Why am I talking about anything? Because you guys have been through hell and back, so many of you. You guys have been through so much. So many ups and downs. Many of you guys have lost your jobs because of being sick. Many of you guys have lost family members because of being sick, meaning like you just either, you know, you just had difficulties in relationships. I know so many people, they have relationships and the relationships fall apart because someone's sick in the relationship, and it's so sad. I watched that for years. You know, I mean, so many times I've watched that. And so health is just so important. And right now it's critical to keep our immune system strong because our immune systems get weakened and beaten down. That's how the system's set up. The system is set up to beat us down, to beat us down, to beat us down. Even the time change. Just so you know, you guys, the whole time change, the whole time, the 1 hour time shift, that's actually to throw us off our game and weaken our immune systems and destabilize us. That's what that is. I'm going to talk about that one day. Been saying this for years, but I'm going to go into details on that. If you guys just came on here, we're talking about the liver. We're talking about the liver's immune system. We're talking about the skin conditions of the liver, including acne. We're talking about emotions. When you have a sick liver, things can get heated up, emotional. Yeah, Lorraine, it's true. It's true. Michelle L., you said you knew? Yeah. The time change is not supposed to happen. They're not supposed to do the time change. That's not any natural occurrence. That's control. That's because that's all about controlling the human race and weakening them. Because the time change stresses people out, gets them sick. That's what it does. That's what they do. That's the whole point. It's actually to knock people down. They try to knock you down wherever they can. That's how it's done out there. Yeah, knock you down wherever. You guys see it, right? You guys see it? This is knock you. You guys on Telegram? You guys on TikTok? Good to see you guys on TikTok. They try to knock you down wherever they can. Okay? That's how it's done. And the time change is just one way they try to knock you down. That's just one way. There's other ways. Plenty of other ways. We're good to see you guys here. You know, I love just giving you any information I can. We're talking about the immune system. What you see in front of me right now is golden seal, zinc, but you see golden seal. Every single year around the holidays, I tell my friends and family, you better have your golden seal. You better have it. Every single year. It's like, you better have your golden seal in your pocket. You better have it in your pocket. You better have it, right? Getting a little scratchy throat. Got to get my golden seal out. Let me take my golden seal. You get something else is happening. Let me take my golden seal. Someone was coughing around me. A family member's sick. They flew off a plane. Let me take my golden seal. I'm all stressed out around the holidays. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of stress. I'm traveling. I better take my golden seal. That's critical for this time of year. Critical. I think glyphosate are killing us all. There's worse stuff than glyphosate. Denise, glyphosates aren't killing us all. Glyphosates are not killing us all. I mean, are they good? No, they're not. There's way bigger fish, in the pond. Can I tell you a bigger fish in the pond than glyphosates? Can I tell you a bigger fish? Blood draw. That's a bigger fish. Okay. That's a bigger fish. This is a bigger fish right here. Such a bigger fish, you cannot even believe it. That's how much of a bigger fish this is. Okay? That's what this is. Oh, I'm going to make my doctor's appointment. Oh, you want to take more blood from me? They are killing everyone slowly, purposely. Not the doctor on purpose. Doctors are great. They're trained to bloodlet you, to lower your immune system, let viruses take over, let pathogens take over, break down your immune system, and quicken a death. Whether it's 10 years, it takes 5 years, or to keep you chronically ill. It's rigged like that, and that's part of it. Glyphosate, I get it. You know, that's a bad thing. Blood draw, that's a tragedy. Here you are sick with neurological Lyme, and they take another 28 vials. You never get better. Never get better. Thousands and thousands of people with chronic illness end up dying from getting more blood draw and then when you get sicker because you're draining all your blood, your immune system, you're taking your immune system out, guess what? You get sicker and they take more blood. Oh, your patient, you're sicker? Well, nurse, order up another 20 vials. What? The patient just had it done last week? It doesn't matter. Your blood all comes back. Take another 20 vials. And you go downhill, 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 downhill until you don't get to the doctor to take blood no more, or you end up in the hospital dying. Blood draw is way bigger of a problem. There's so many other fish to fry. We can fry fish all day long. That's what we can do. Hey, I'm gonna put the arm on top of the blender. Is that okay? Okay, blender's dirty. You guys, I didn't have time to clean up the blender after the Amazon Live. I didn't have time to get everything too straight. But you know what? I did have time to get a few of my friends out here. Got my German Shepherd out here. I did have time for that. Piggy's over here. I got the goat. And I got the chicken there. And I got the black lab, right? Okay, so anyway, you guys, it's good to see you guys coming on TikTok. We got a good crowd on TikTok today. We're talking about the liver and emotions. We're talking about other things too. Nicholas says, Vimergy having a sale for the next few days. You know what? That's a perfect time for Golden Seal for me and my friends then, of my family, so I'm going to let them know. Thanks for letting everybody know. So the whole point, you guys, is this is a cool live right now. We're talking about a few things. We're talking about when your liver gets toxic, we get emotional. Why? And why? Why would you get emotional because your liver's toxic? Why would that happen? Why is the liver a part of us getting emotional? I mean, we can get, and that's the whole thing. It's a big piece of it. When Rachel Simpson says, what brand of Golden Seal, please? It's Vimergy, V as in Victor, I, M as in Mary, ERGY. And what you won't find in here is the mystery 10% ingredients that are in all the supplements out there that nobody knows is in there. The mystery stuff that is allowed to be hidden in every single supplement company's supplements. In all supplement company supplements out there, there's up to 10% hidden ingredients that don't have to be listed in your supplements. And Vimergy said, screw that. I know, because I'm friends with those guys. They're amazing. Hearts of Gold, Mom and Pop. And I'm friends with a lot of supplement companies because I have to be friends, is because I want them to keep standards up, right? And Vimergy said, There ain't going to be no hidden 5% ingredients in this. We're not doing it. Manufacturers, they hide 5 to 10% ingredients, hidden mystery ingredients in everybody's supplements out there. All the best supplement companies out there, I don't care who they are, there's up to 10% mystery hidden ingredients out there, in there. And Vimergy said, screw that. We're not doing that. There's not going to be 1 to 10% of mystery anything in this. That's number one. Number two, there's no alcohol in this tincture. No alcohol. Alcohol is the bad thing in tinctures. It destroys the herb, so it doesn't work. That's another thing. I could go on and on and on. I can go on. I can't say enough. I'm not sponsored by these guys, but I love them, and it's just a fact. Janine, yes, the change has really, the time change has really messed me up, exclamation points. I think I have a mild case of C. I'm sick, but celery juice, olive leaf extract, plus medical meeting protocols. It's hard because I hurt all over, but I'm trying. Proud of you. Yeah, another time change. That's what it's rigged. It's rigged to foul up the human race. There's no reason for time change. There's no. You think the Native Americans? You think the Native Americans? Think the indigenous cultures? You think they were like, hey everybody, we got to change the time on everybody. we got to set our clocks, even though they didn't have a clock. They watched the sunset, the sunrise. We got to set our clocks 1 hour ahead, 1 hour behind. Think the Native Americans 500 years ago were like, hey, everybody in the tribes, we got to set our clocks back. Hey, let's set the sun back. Oh, the sun's setting. Set it back an hour. You think the Native Americans were like, hey, set that clock back, right? Like, you think they did that? You think a bear in the woods is like, we got to set that. You think the bears all get together? Do you think the deer all get together in the woods and say, you guys, we got to set our clock back? Go back an hour or go back an hour forward. Do you think all the squirrels and all the woodchucks and all the raccoons and all the beavers, you think we got to set our clocks back? You think indigenous cultures thousands of years ago were like, you got to set our clock, you guys, we got to set our clocks back? I mean, how insane is that? But you know why they do it? They do it for one reason only, to make your life a little bit harder, to trip you up. It's 1,000 knives. Death by 1,000 knives. Here's one more cut. We're going to set the time. We're going to set the time change. Make the time change happen. Right? Miriam, it's not so kids aren't outside in the dark for the school bus. It's not. That's not why they set the time change. That's not why it's set. They don't care. The industries that set the time change that do it, they don't care about that. They don't care about that. Okay? The people that set the time change, okay, their kids aren't waiting in the dark somewhere for a bus. The powers that be in the upper echelon, the illumination who creates the time change, their kids aren't waiting in the dark at a bus stop on some street. Just so you know. The illumination who changes the time change doesn't care about anybody's kids. Anyway, exactly. So, you guys, let's talk about a few things. But it's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, Dino, exactly. So you're right. We are supposed to be talking about some cool things right now about the liver and the immune system, liver and skin problems, liver and emotions, emotional liver. So there's an emotional liver section in here, which is really cool, just so you know. You guys, we're live on Telegram. We're live on TikTok. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Rumble. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Facebook, too. So I'm in the table of contents, so I'm just looking for emotional liver right now. You just go in here and like, where's emotional liver? And what I love about this book is that what people don't realize about our liver is when it becomes toxic, we become toxic. When the liver becomes toxic, our brain becomes toxic. When your liver becomes toxic, your brain becomes toxic. Because when your liver gets backed up, because that's your filter, your brain gets toxic. When your brain gets toxic, you get emotional even more so than maybe you would normally. You know, normally we all get emotional. You would get emotional more so than maybe what we would get, normally. Yeah. Darcy Lee says, love it when you go into the illumination. I want the truth. Yeah, the illumination doesn't care about anybody's kids. I mean, you think the world is like that? I mean, You guys see it now. I mean, I talked about this. I talked about this on the Telegram private message, right? The private message Telegram. Do you guys, anybody on YouTube, anybody on TikTok, you guys on Telegram, I do these private messages, right? And I talked about a friend, right? A friend's child, right? Sick in high school and had to stay home. It's too sick, too long. And after a while, nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. It's exclusive on Telegram. You should check it out, right? The private messages, the exclusive messages, I mean. And nobody cared. It's like people, the industries in the power up B, top and everything, meaning the higher echelon of everything, they don't care about anybody's kids. They don't care about anybody. Why do you think everything's just going so south, too? I mean, everything just goes so south all the time. The industries, all of it. All right, you guys. You think they care about your kids when they create all those chemical air fresheners? And they got air fresheners pumping 5,000 dangerous chemicals in your home for your children to breathe in? Do you think anybody cares about your kids? There's air fresheners in everybody's homes now, poisoning our children. There's air fresheners in all the schools now, plugged in all the classrooms. Do you think anybody cares about our kids? They're poisoning all our kids with air fresheners. Thousands of dangerous, untested chemicals that are not even monitored, pumped into those air fresheners there, and then pumping, those plugins pumping in everybody's homes and schools, poisoning children and pets. Do you think they care about your kids? And speaking of kids, we got a pandas section in here, by the way. It's called Jaundice and Baby Liver. That's in Liver Rescue right now. So this book is packed with information. It has healed already so many people. I mean, so many people all through the years. It's really that special of a book. So it really is. So I got a section in here, back here. It's emotional liver. It's supplement protocols for that, which is really great. This is a powerful book. So I'm just looking. I'll find it in a minute too. So I want to talk about some other stuff too. The whole thing about pandas is what people don't really understand is that it's not just Streptococcus. Pandas is more than Streptococcus. Streptococcus is a cofactor with pandas. And that's what people don't realize. It's the cofactor to pandas. So everybody's like, well, strep. Well, no. That's just one piece of it. That's a cofactor, right? And so with the whole thing with strep and the different strains and the different varieties of strep that everybody walks around with all the different streps, right? The whole bit. Is any child that had pandas or has pandas ends up with acne later on, ends up with UTIs, ends up with ear infections, more ear infections, ends up with all these other things. Marcy says two kids healed from pandas here using medical medium. Incredible. That's such good news. That's amazing news. Holly Toon says, it healed me, exclamation points. No more autoimmune disease after 25 years of suffering. I'm living proof. Holly, incredible. I'm so glad. Liver Rescue's touched a lot of people's hearts. It's done a lot for so many. If you guys just came on TikTok, if you just came on Telegram, just came on YouTube, we're talking about the liver. We're talking about emotional liver. We're talking about what happens when our liver gets stagnant and sluggish. It poisons our brain. The liver's supposed to hold on to the poisons and toxins until we give it a chance to safely guide it out. So what Liver Rescue is, it's a way to safely guide out poisons and toxins in a way that can be really helpful so someone can get that liver cleaned up, right? But everybody walks around with these toxic livers and then the brain gets intoxicated. And when the brain gets intoxicated, then we all of a sudden end up getting blood draws. That's a whole other thing all on its own. Julie said cured hot flashes with Liver Rescue. That is so amazing. It's so special. When our brain gets intoxicated with all the different poisons and toxins, then we're now in a place where we get triggered. Do you guys know anybody? I want to ask you guys something. Do you guys know anybody that gets triggered easy? Right? A little triggered into anxiety easy. Triggered, Soma says love. The Liver Rescue book, so amazing. You know anybody that gets triggered easy in any way, like emotionally, or their anxiety gets triggered easy, or they get, triggered in any way, right? Mood swings and all that. The liver gets so stagnant and so sluggish in so many people. Right? I just saw How Can I Stop Sugar Cravings? There's a mystery hunger section in here. And so what happens is that when your liver gets toxic like that, okay? When that happens, we get triggered easy because the brain gets saturated. So keep that in mind. The brain gets saturated. So everybody saying me right there. I see on TikTok, everybody saying me. It happens to me. It happens to me there too on YouTube, Allison. So we go through this thing where we can get unstable, right? We feel unstable. We don't feel strong. Like we just don't feel strong. We feel like we can break easy. You guys ever feel that? You feel like you could break easy. You feel like you're not strong. You feel like you're not tough or something, or you're sensitive, but you're not. You are strong, and that's the whole thing people don't realize. Just because if you don't feel strong and you don't feel confident about your health and your health strength, it doesn't mean you're not the strongest person out there. People who have chronic illness and symptoms and conditions are the strong ones. They're the strong ones, but yet it's easy to get triggered because you're bearing so much. And that's what people don't realize. When your liver gets all toxic and sluggish, right? It gets toxic and sluggish and tired and stagnant. All the toxins go into the brain. And then if you already have symptoms and conditions, you're already sensitive. You're already struggling, so you can be triggered easier. And then you could feel like you're not a strong person. You could feel like you're not strong. And then people around you are like, oh, God, there goes your symptoms again, and there goes your problems again. Meanwhile, you're the strongest person because look what you're bearing. It's hard to have a symptom and condition and be struggling. So when someone like you guys and people I know are struggling with something, you need to know how strong you really are, even if you get triggered easy and feel like you're weak. You're not weak. Because guess what? People out there who seem strong, who don't have a symptom and condition, if they were sick, they would fall the heck apart. I can't tell you how many times I've heard from people like, oh my God, my husband got sick for the first time in his life and he's crying like a baby every single day. Meanwhile, I've been sick for 20 years and I've had all kinds of conditions and symptoms. And he's sick with his first thing, and he's bawling, and he can't handle it. I mean, people with chronic illness, I hear that all the time. People with chronic illness, symptoms and conditions are really the strong ones, but we don't feel strong. We feel weak. We feel kicked down. We feel not confident, right? On Telegram, you guys, right on TikTok, you feel not confident, and you feel kind of weakened, but really you're strong. But what happens is you get triggered easy, because the liver's all dirtied up. It's all filled with toxins. Diana says, I remember I started becoming emotional around 25. I used to control my emotions really well before. Yeah. What happens is the liver gets all clogged up. We get some symptoms. We get triggered easy because the brain gets filled up with stuff. That's why. Because the brain gets filled up with stuff. The brain gets filled up with copper. That's a big one right there. Copper. So much copper. We get into our brain. Toxic copper. Everybody's in touch with toxic copper. It's everywhere. It's coming out of air fresheners. It's in colognes and perfumes. Toxic copper is everywhere. It fills up in the liver, right? Everybody gets filled up with aluminum. Fluoride treatments, anybody? Fluoride treatments? Anybody have a fluoride treatment? It builds up in the liver and builds up in the liver. And the next thing you know it, that fluoride treatment finally hits the brain, and now you get triggered easy emotionally. Then you get blamed in your relationship. If you're in a relationship, if you're not in a relationship, you get blamed by a friend. If you're not in a relationship, you get blamed by a family member. But if you're in a relationship, you get blamed by the other person in the relationship. You're just way too emotional. Yeah, it's her fault. She's the problem. She's the one causing all this. And then you're at counseling. You're at marriage counseling or partner counseling. boyfriend-girlfriend counseling, and you're at a counselor's, and the counselor is just like, now tell me, what's all the problem here? now the counselor's like, so what's all the problem here? And then the guy's like, she's just too emotional. She just can't keep her crap together. Every little thing just gets her upset. Everything's going on. Or she's like, if it's flipped around, she's like, he's just angry all the time. He's always angry. He comes home from work, he's angry. You can't say anything to him. He just wants to watch what he wants to watch. He just plays on his computer. He's angry. I can't get any words out of him. He's cranky. He doesn't say good night at night, right? Like whatever it is. A big part of it is that liver. There's a lot of guys out there with angry livers. A lot of guys with angry livers. Right? A lot of women out there with clogged up livers. And then the brain gets filled up with everything the liver's overflowing. And I love Liver Rescue because I talk about all this stuff. It's like an incredible book. I talk about all this stuff. It's on Amazon, the book, right? You can get it free at the library if you want, but it's on Amazon too, right? It's on sale on Amazon right now. Fernica says, my husband blames me for being too sensitive, too emotional all the time for 10 years, 10 of these years. And what happens is that our livers get clogged up and stagnant, and they get all these things in there like muck, like viral muck too. They get all this viral muck in there. Courtney M.A. says, my husband has an angry liver. I believe it. And we get all these pathogens inside the liver, and it builds up, and the pathogens are eating things in the liver, and the pathogens are eating copper and aluminum. The pathogens are eating stuff inside the liver, and then all that stuff comes barreling out of the liver, and it ends up in the brain. The brain's toxic now. Now we got brain fog, and now we got short-circuiting, and now we're cranky. Now we're irritable. Now we're triggered easy. Now we're emotional, and that's what happens. I'm giving you guys the rundown about those angry livers everybody has. That's it right there. Everybody's walking around with those angry livers. Bella Kim says, I don't know if it's my toxic liver or my BF that's making me emotional, laugh out loud. Well, your BF could have a toxic liver. Another thing too, we tend to always blame ourselves. It's always me. I'm the problem. Maybe it's everybody. Maybe everybody has a little bit of a problem, right? Maybe we all have a little bit going on. That's true too. We all have something going on. But maybe we all not feeling good. Maybe not. Maybe we're all not feeling good. And that's another thing too. If you don't feel good, it's easy to get triggered. If you got a lot of toxins in the liver, it's easy to be triggered. If you're viral, if you got the pathogens and the streptococcus, it's easy to be triggered. What I love about the golden seal right now is we're in that time of year where emotions get pretty rough, right? This is it. It's the pressure. It's like bottlenecking. It's, the holidays coming on. And then boom, Thanksgiving. And then everybody's got to get the Christmas. You see the Christmas lights come out. And then everything else. And then next thing you know it, everybody's all stressed out. I mean, I hear about it anyway. Yeah. So Sarah says, Ayurveda has been teaching this for thousands of years. Sarah, Ayurveda hasn't been teaching this for thousands of years, and no disrespect. I know they tell you that, but they haven't. Ayurveda didn't know about pathogens. Shen says, Ayurveda is man-made. I got majorly duped by Ayurvedic doctors, and so has thousands of other people and thousands of other people that came to see me in my office over the last 30 years. So yeah, it's no disrespect. I know some cool Ayurvedic doctors that are really cool. It's just that Ayurvedic medicine didn't know about pathogens. So they didn't know about viruses ever. They didn't know that Epstein-Barr causes fibromyalgia, and Epstein-Barr feeds off of copper and causes eczema. So for thousands of years, Ayurvedic medicine didn't know that. And there's no disrespect. It's just fact. Ayurvedic medicine talked about other things, and they didn't talk about the liver overflowing with poisons and toxins either, saturating the brain and causing emotional triggers. That's not Ayurvedic. Kirsten says Ayurveda is a good philosopher, but this is now. Exactly. Times have changed. Wiley Green says, I think Wiley Green, W. Green, Ayurveda set me back before finding Anthony. I've heard that over the years. I have. So it's important to know the information. It really is. Got no disrespect for Ayurvedic medicine, Ayurveda at all. No way. But I'm just saying, Divine Light said something about Ayurveda. Ayurveda is evil, and I know that from experience because I paid thousands to study Ayurveda before finding medical medium. Divine Light, so glad to have you here. Truly. The whole thing, too, is with Ayurveda. Some Ayurvedic doctor, actually, that I know, is a friend of mine, says, I'm going to go do a ghee cleanse. A ghee cleanse. I'm like, you can't cleanse with that because your gallbladder and your liver are going to produce bile to try to break it down. He's like, what do you mean? It's like, you're going to have to produce a ton of bile to break it down so your liver won't cleanse because it's in production of bile. It's like, what? Ayurveda doesn't know that? I'm like, Ayurveda doesn't know a lot of things. You know, I was trying to be nice. But anyway, but look, whatever makes people happy too. You know, I'm not sitting here to disrespect. You guys, all of a sudden I see the ghee thing. The ghee thing. Wait, ghee's trouble? Ghee's trouble? Yeah, ghee's trouble. It is. It's not a good thing. Stops you from cleansing. It's really hard on the liver. Ghee's hard on the liver. It's really hard on the liver. And it's still dairy. It's still dairy. But it's really hard on the liver too. Lorraine says, well, laugh out loud. I can imagine people joining the live and thinking, why is there a hand on the blender? You are so much fun, Anthony. Love these lives. I was going to put it in the blender and like one of those scary shows. No, we're not going to do that. It's the blood draw. So you guys, let's still get into this. We still got some more. We still got more to do. Let's talk about methylation. You guys want to know something about methylation? Methylation is in the liver book. Let's cover that a little bit. This is funny, you know? This is a fun day. Anybody new here that's coming on, I just hope you're okay because Dr. Nesbitt just came out of surgery right now. And Dr. Nesbitt's here. By the way, if you don't know Dr. Nesbitt, he's a board-certified surgeon. He's a board-certified psychiatrist. Dr. Nesbitt is a board-certified... He says he doesn't like Ayurvedic medicine, Ayurveda. But then he says he does like... He says he does like it a little bit. He says that he ate a whole bunch of ghee for dinner and he threw up. And he said that he felt better after he vomited the ghee up. Dr. Nesbitt, the one thing about Dr. Nesbitt you need to know that he does drink, and he drinks when he's performing surgeries. Dr. Nesbitt just performed a splenectomy, and he said that he only had 2 shots of whiskey before he performed the splenectomy. He had a martini and 2 shots of whiskey, and he says he wants to give advice since he's a board-certified surgeon and psychiatrist. He says don't mix martinis and whiskey together. He says it was a bad concoction. I won't tell him that part. What? I'm not going to tell him what else you did. No, because somebody might need surgery one day, and they might end up because their health plan sticks them in your way, and you... All right. I think I'm going to have to put Dr. Nesbitt back. Dr. Nesbitt likes liver rescue, though, so I'm just going to... I don't know if that's helping me right now, Dr. Nesbitt, if you like liver rescue. I got it. Dr. Nesbitt has to go back into surgery. April Taft. Dr. Nesbitt came out. Okay. MTHFR gene mutation. Did I lose some of you guys? You know what it is? Humor. Having a sense of humor. Having some joy in the heart. Being able to laugh a little. It's really important. Really important. And that's not that information. That's in humankind for centuries and centuries and centuries. That's in human nature. That's human design. You gotta laugh a little. You got to find some humor. It really matters. So let's go into here. We're in methylation right now. Methylation is an important topic because what you'll find is you'll be tricked into the methylation problem, right? You'll be told you have this gene mutation, or MTHFR gene mutation. So that's the whole thing with what's happening. So you got an MTHFR gene mutation. That's what the blood test shows. But there's a couple important things to understand. They don't actually see a gene mutation. Very important to know. Okay? A gene mutation cannot be fixed. If you have a mutated gene, it can't be fixed. So if you have a mutated gene, it's not fixable. It's your genes, right? And that's where I scratch my head, because thousands of people have done medical medium information and then go to their doctors, and then their doctor says, we don't know why, but we think we misdiagnosed you because you don't have a gene mutation anymore. Because it's not showing up that you have the MTHFR gene mutation. And so the patient is like, well, that doesn't make any sense. If I have this gene mutation, the doctor says, I don't know why that happens either. It doesn't make any sense either. So we think we diagnosed you. So that means that your gene mutation test must have been false or fake or, not right. So what happens is that MTHFR gene mutations can always be fixed. Once you clean up the liver and know how to heal, you can get rid of the MTHFR gene mutation, okay? Because it's not genetic. That's really important to know. So I'll give you a rundown too on the gene mutation test. The gene mutation test is an inflammatory marker test. They should have never named it a gene mutation test. They should have named it an inflammatory marker test, because just like the anti-nuclear antigen test, the ANA, just like the C-reactive protein test, the MTHFR gene mutation test is the same thing. It's just an inflammation test. It's not an actual gene mutation. They don't see a gene mutation under the microscope. They see elevated inflammation. It's a theory that you have a gene mutation. So the MTHFR gene mutation theory is a theory stating that you have a gene mutation when really you just have elevated inflammation, and they're using an inflammation test that they're calling a gene mutation test. And that's why it's all screwed up. It's rigged. It's just an inflammation test. That's why you can reverse it. You can't reverse an actual gene. That's the way it is. Your gene stays the way it is if that's your gene. It can't be changed. It can't be reversed. Okay? You can't sit there, like if you don't like your nose, you can't change that unless you do cosmetic surgery. But you can't change your nose. Okay? If you have a mutated gene, then you can't change the gene. You can't change yourself genetically. It doesn't happen. Gene mutation test is a theory. They call it a gene mutation test when it's really an inflammatory marker, just like C-reactive protein or ANA, anti-nuclear antigen test. That's why when people do medical medium, they get rid of their MTHFR gene mutation. They get rid of it. How many thousands and tens of thousands, millions of liver rescue sold around the world in almost every country on the planet, just so you know. Doctors steal liver rescue information and then run ads on all the social media channels selling their products, taking out the information in here and using it for themselves without citing it. This is one of the most popular books in the world. It's saved countless lives. And an overburdened, sluggish liver with a low-grade infection like Epstein, Barr, or shingles, a sluggish, stagnant liver with a low-grade infection like Epstein, Barr, or shingles, okay, is the real cause of inflammation markers ringing off, both ANA, C-reactive protein, MTHFR gene mutation, and neurological Lyme. Really important to know. So it's critical to understand. So when you go to your doctor Do what your doctor says, okay? I'm just telling you, you can bring this information to your doctor. You go to your doctor, and he tells you have a gene mutation. Really, you don't. He just did an inflammation test. Now, you think your genes are screwed up, so now you think you just have bad genes. Now you think your son's genes are messed up. You think your daughter's genes are messed up. You think your family's got some gene problem, and you were just duped. You were just duped. The wool was pulled over your eyes. You were tricked, is what happened. Tammy Winter says, great information. Wow, great. So what happens is, you guys, the reason why countless people around the planet got rid of their gene mutation, just like somebody already commented, right? They got rid of their gene mutation because they didn't have a gene mutation. They had a dirty liver with a low-grade viral infection, and they cleaned it up using medical medium information and tools, and they went back to their doctor, and suddenly their gene mutation was gone. All of our genes haven't gone bad in just the last 20 years, 15, 20 years. But for some reason, medical research and science believes that all of our genes just went bad. And they're teaching doctors that all of our genes went bad. Chronic illness is exploding like never before, all around the planet, all around the world, exploding everywhere. And our genes didn't go bad in 2 years and 5 years. All of our genes just didn't go bad. Okay? So what they do is they tell you have gene problems to take your eyes off the ball. So it's like, take your eyes off the ball. Don't know that it's your liver. Just say it's a gene problem. Don't know that your brain is filled with all this crap. No, it's a gene problem. They don't tell you how to fix it. No, because nobody knows. They don't tell you any of that. Because the system's not built to care about anybody. They're built to break it down. The system's set up to break down and destroy and hurt and harm people. That's what it is. It's just that's reality. That's just reality. Yeah. MeTube787, good to see you. Usually you leave comments on YouTube, right? Yeah, it's exactly what you just said is spot on. So anyway, you guys. So we talked about liver rescue for a little bit. I made some pasta. I already ate some, so I ate a whole bunch before I came on here. But I made some pasta on the Amazon Live. Make sure you subscribe to the Amazon Live because that's where I'm cooking. That's where I'm cooking and doing the cooking tips and everything and showing you things that I like and all that. The link is in the description. Make sure you subscribe for that. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video, by the way, you guys, on YouTube. Okay? And the link is in the description on TikTok. On TikTok, the link is in the bio. You guys on YouTube, link is in the description. Facebook, link is in the description, right? Okay. Dr. Fahn, MD, autoimmune theory and gene theory is a mass duping of the populace. We've cracked the human genome for years now. What has that brought on? What has that brought on other than money for a new industry? It's so true. It's so true. They haven't fixed anybody because of that. They've been playing with genes for decades and decades now, right? For 50, 60, 70 years. They started playing with genes right around World War II. Right before, in the 30s, in the late 30s, they started playing with genes. And nothing came from it. Besides billions and trillions of dollars going up throughout the decades, trillions of dollars throughout the decades getting funneled into it. And they still don't have one answer to why you have a heart palpitation that's unexplainable. They don't have an answer to why anything. Lizzie Lou says, I've had the same experience with MTHFR. I didn't have it before and then got sick and now testing positive for due to two different types of MTHFR gene mutation. I got to tell you one thing about that. This is really interesting. And so here's how it goes. You don't have a gene mutation before. You get sick and then they diagnose you with two varieties of MTHFR gene mutation. Two varieties of MTHFR gene mutation. That's unbelievable. And it's so fraudulent. I mean, listen to your doctor, do what your doctor tells you, but it's so fraudulent how the system is when you think about it. You don't have a gene mutation in the past, but now all of a sudden you got one when you get sick. Really, it's because it was just an inflammation marker detecting inflammation, not a gene mutation. And that inflammation has a lot to do with the liver. I'm going to IG, so I'm heading off to Instagram in a couple of minutes. And I'm going to turn TikTok back on, and I'm going to read some more Liver Rescue, everything else. You guys check out Liver Rescue when you can. Okay, Amazon.com, it's on sale, which is really awesome. It's a great gift for people too during the holidays, just letting you know. The liver is like, that's something you got to know about. Like, if you want to be somebody that knows something about health, you have to learn about the liver a little bit, at least enough to learn about the liver. I mean, there's so-called health hacks and experts out there. They don't know anything about the liver, and the pieces they chime away came from this book right here. So it's so crazy how it works. Dr. Sherry Green, good to see you. Fatty liver is explained in Liver Rescue. Dr. Sherry Green, you're awesome. You guys, I love you. And I'm going to IG. I'll see you soon.